Welcome to Nathan Golang Show. Today we're going to be talking about some breaking news that Elizabeth Warren has pretty much taken the first step to running for president. She apparently set up an exploratory committee, whatever that means, whatever that does. That's the same thing Julian Castro did, and Julian Castro is practically certain. All these different sources, CNN, NPR, AP News, are saying that she's taking a step towards a likely presidential run. So I think it's pretty certain that Elizabeth Warren will be running for president. And part of me is a little concerned, to be honest with you. I don't think a lot of the progressives will line up behind her. I don't think she'll get progressive support. I think in a matchup against her and Bernie Sanders would still get the progressive vote. But what my main concern would be is the potential split up of the progressive vote. Now, I think there will be other progressives running in this race, including Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Richard Ojeda, maybe Tulsi Gabbard, but I'm not sure about Tulsi Gabbard. But, we don't want the progressive vote split. Personally, I would support Bernie Sanders. That would just be my point of view, even up against all these other progressives. I think Bernie Sanders is the best choice. So I'll let you guys know that first, straight up, that I hope Bernie Sanders runs. I hope Bernie Sanders wins the Democratic primary. I hope Bernie Sanders beats Trump. I hope Bernie Sanders becomes president. Right now, Bernie Sanders is my main guy. I don't see anyone that has the best potential to beat Trump as Bernie Sanders. I don't see anyone with a good enough, not a good enough, but as great of a record as Bernie Sanders. So that's why Bernie Sanders has my support. But I'm not saying, though, that I don't think other progressives should run. I'm just saying that the split up of the progressive vote is always going to be a concern. But even then, let's talk about Warren. Warren is, I think I've said this before to people when I'm discussing Elizabeth Warren, she's a good ally to the progressive movement, but I don't think she should be the leader of the progressive movement, if you know what I mean. Mainly because she's not that unifying, even with a progressive base. Because many progressives feel betrayed about 2016 when she did not come out there and support Bernie, when she did not go out there and campaign for a fellow progressive, but rather stayed on the sidelines. And then when Hillary won, she was ecstatic for Hillary and was very supportive of Hillary. And that's the big issue. And the tragedy, I think there's a certain amount of tragedy when it comes to Elizabeth Warren. Because she did that, I think she's practically killed all her hype for running for president. Now, in 2014, I wasn't that politically involved. Politics was somewhat an interest, but I was not that involved. But I do know that progressives were actually rallying around Elizabeth Warren, wanting her to run for president. They wanted to draft Warren. That's not happening anymore. The progressives aren't on the side. That's the tragedy. The people that are excited for her aren't the progressive base that she had for such a while. Because of 2016, because she, in a way, did that sort of treachery and betrayed progressives and people like Bernie Sanders, they're not on her side anymore. They're not excited. The sad part is, let's say you go on Twitter. The only people that are excited are establishment folks, which is kind of sad. A lot of things are, some people are saying, she's progressive but also pragmatic. I think it's pretty concerning when establishment folks say pragmatic, because what pragmatic in their eyes mean is different than what pragmatic in the progressive view is. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little funny. I just woke up. It's pretty early. But their pragmatic could mean Oh, you're not going to prosecute these rich people that break the law. Oh, you're not going to move us towards green energy in a fast amount of time because this is a necessity. Oh, you're not going to fight for complete Medicare for all. You're not going to fight for tuition-free college. You're not going to completely end the wars. You're going to keep somewhat war, but you're going to make war less. You're not going to completely end it. Now, I understand it's not easy, but that's the goals you got to fight for. You got to fight for completely Medicare for all. You got to fight for completely tuition-free public college. Private colleges can still exist, but for public colleges, you got to make it tuition-free. You got to fight for that. You got to fight for that ultimate goal, and don't make your goal something sort of what they would define as pragmatic. Now, what a pragmatic progressive would say is we're not going to get everything right away, but constantly, consistently, we're going to fight towards those goals. Even if we don't achieve it, we're going to keep fighting. Let's say we don't achieve it with one presidential term because there's a Republican Congress or a corporate Democratic Congress. We're just going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting for those goals, and we're going to celebrate when we get our achievements. So let's say we are fighting towards Medicare for all, yet every year we're gradually getting more people covered, gradually, and we're still working towards that Medicare for all goal. We might not get everyone covered in the first year, but we're still going to be happy that millions of people are covered now, or millions of people that weren't covered are covered. And then we're going to keep working towards that ultimate goal. But what I'm concerned is about Warren, because she hasn't really proven herself as a true progressive leader. She's not been a leader about progressive issues. The concern is that when push comes to shove, she'll be sort of Obama-like, in which she'll campaign, hey, I'll close Guantanamo. Oh, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. But then the moment there's resistance from like Republicans or conservatives or corporate Democrats, she'll be like, okay, I'll be pragmatic and make my ultimate goal this. That's it. Like, my ultimate goal will be covering not everyone, but some people. And I'll stop working towards covering everyone. That's the concern. But I believe that's the so-called pragmatism. But again, going back to Warren's tragedy, the tragedy of Elizabeth Warren is that in 2014 there was so much excitement about her running for president as the progressive choice, as the alternative to Hillary, and something progressives would be excited for. She didn't run. In 2015 and primaries in 2016, there was still that excitement around her by progressives saying that, oh, she should be Bernie Sanders' vice president. But when it just kept going throughout 2016, the excitement died down. When it came to the ending parts of the primary, the excitement was gone from progressives towards Warren. And now the only people that are excited are establishment folks. And to be honest, if you talk to regular people, they don't really know who she is. She's not, like, we know her because we're political junkies. We know politics, but a lot of people don't know who she is. And that doesn't disqualify you or anything like that, but she lost her base, and she's not that well known outside of political circles in Washington. But you know what? Let me read some tweets I saw on Twitter. This is from Amir Amini MD. I think I've seen his tweets before. I think he might be progressive leaning. But yeah, he's followed by Jane Sanders and stuff. He wrote, had Elizabeth Warren backed Bernie in 2016, we'd be in a different place today. She didn't because her ambitions were more important. The same reason why she remained silent on no DAPL and why her foreign policy is as right-wing as HRC's. She has a huge credibility issue which we can't afford. Yeah, that's the thing. Honestly, to be honest with you, that the foreign policy part is interesting because I'm not actually aware of Elizabeth Warren's foreign policy, but that just goes to show that's a good representation of progressive thought on Elizabeth Warren. They're not excited for her, and they lost a lot of trust for her after 2016. They lost, and she lost the trust too. It's not like progressives caused the loss of trust. It's Elizabeth Warren that caused it by not endorsing Bernie or supporting progressives. And let's see. Let me look through for some excited tweets. This guy named Bob Chipman, or at the movie Bob. Interesting. Interesting description he has here. He has film and gaming writer, vid producer, neoliberal shill, coastal elite, technocrat dandy. Opinions are my own, not my employer's. Duh. So, we see where his biases land. We see his point of view. And he writes, and Warren is in. Good, very good. I don't know if she's the front runner or a winner, but if she's in Sanders, may decide that his pet but if she's in, oh, sorry, there was no comma there, kind of confused me, but if she's in, Sanders may decide that his pet buzzwords will get spoken enough that he won't jump in and make a mess out of things. That's a plus. Well, there you go. If you go on Twitter, you can see a lot of excited self-described neoliberals and centrists being excited for Warren, and that's the tragedy. Her base completely shifted. Yet the thing is, she's not going to get the neoliberal, centrist, moderate base of the Democratic Party. That's going to go to Beto or Biden. So, to be honest, earlier in this video, I was a little worried that she would split the progressive vote. But I've kind of come to the conclusion progressives aren't going to support her. I already knew they weren't going to line up behind her. I was kind of worried that there would be some progressives that would support her. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that the centrists and the moderates are the most excited about her. And even then, she doesn't have the most hype out of the centrists and moderates in the race. So I would say that Elizabeth Warren is going to be like one of those many Republicans in 2016 that were just kind of mentioned a lot, like Scott Walker or Ben Carson, that just didn't go far. And that's what I think is going to be the future. That's my prediction for the future of the Elizabeth Warren campaign.